The war in the Pacific is now dominated by the Japanese. The Americans and their allies no longer seem to have that fighting spirit with which they started the war. In the recent weeks, Japanese have only sighted Allied destroyers and light cruiser task forces, with some smatterings of heavy cruisers to support them. With the majority of the Allied battleships dealt with, the Japanese have only one question remaining. Where are the Allied carriers? While Yamato pushes south towards the Solomon Islands, the Japanese push on towards the Philippines and the Dutch East Indies with some more invasion groups, sinking more and more American light cruisers on their way. The only question now is a question of time. How long will it take for the Japanese to move their resources from mainland Japan down to the Abdecom bases and secure their ultimate victory?
Hello and welcome back everyone to our War on the Sea Let's Play series as Imperial Japanese Navy. Now I'm just going to start with a very minor announcement. I do apologise for the complete lack of structured schedule in the past few weeks. As you know, I've been moving house and that process is still ongoing. I'm making the big step on today, actually, when this video is released. My lovely girlfriend shall be moving in with me, and that is why this move has been so significant. So that's finally happening, and I'll be getting videos out as and when I can. It's working out a schedule around this now, and just trying to get things done in the house and then balance YouTube on top. It is still very much a hobby I want to get on with. Of course, we're not just going to abandon it there. Just trying to get things done around that. So I hope you understand. I do apologise for a lack of videos if there will be any this week. We will see how it goes. We'll try and keep on top of it. However, we have the Pacific to conquer. Keeping up from last time, we have bombarded Rabaul down to a level 3 airfield from a number 4, which is very nice indeed. Tempted to go and bombard Kavieng over there, just because that is of course a very nice forward base and forward radar that they do have on Rabaul there. We will have to see about that because, well, actually, how much fuel and engineering and such do we have on Truk? We have a bit. It's the supplies that are now severely lacking, and that's because we restocked our air groups previously. If we look per replenished, whereas task force plane, it's 15 supplies per plane, and we did replenish quite a few, of course, and we have used some supplies from ammos in ships as well. So we're actually looking at that now with Truk. We really need to put some supplies quite quickly on top of there, which is a bit of a problem because we do have these supplies coming round over for an invasion on Tawi Tawi. What we could do is put some supporting supplies on over here and use the rest on Truk over there. I do only want about a couple thousand supplies more on Tawi Tawi to really help us out there. But having said that, I do want to take some troops off of either Del Monte or Cebu over here, so that we can reinforce this just that little bit. But I don't think that might necessarily be needed. The balance of power is just about in our favour, and that will grind very slowly within the next few days towards a total victory for us. So I think really it's just supplies we need. We're doing fine for supplies over here. Going to upgrade Puerta Princesa, I think, to a level 3 port, I think was a plan actually, so that we can have this as a forward resupply base as well as Truk out over here. So we've got 2 forward resupplies covering both bases there. So we should be able to do that with this fuel and engineering drop off here. That is looking like the case there. Just trying to very quickly look at the maths. That should be just about fine there. Looking over here, Palembang is a neutral level 3 airfield. It's amazing that's remained neutral over the course of this campaign, because we are nearly 200 days through, and you'd have thought the Allies would have taken that and gobbled us up. So we might try and in the future get some troops, supplies, engineering and fuel on there to try and make use of this free level 3 airfield. Be a very nice radar coverage over here to see what's going on, and we do have some troops and supplies on here already. Of course, mostly troops, very few supplies, but it will alleviate any future need for reinforcement there. We can capture that immediately. I think what we're going to do is just unload everything very quickly here, because I can't remember if we scouted out Kuching over here recently. And yeah, that's not looking great at all. That's going to take a good couple thousand troops and equal supply to take that. So that's not a problem for the future. But we do want to bring those off, and I think we will. Actually, now that we've spotted the opportunity, we will take these troops and supplies to Palembang and capture that very quickly. The problem there is if the Allies do decide to invade this once we've taken it, we won't be able to defend that very easily at all. But it's a risk we've got to take. The Allies haven't been at all interested in it so far, so having that radar coverage will be very nice indeed. So I think we're certainly going to do that, and that will take, how long is that going to take to get over? 12.6 hours, not long at all. I can see a couple submarines about actually, and this task force over here which we need to scout out. So that is something we need to do immediately. We are going to pull back to Guam for now with this particular task force. We can't really, I think we did actually, that's why our supplies are gone, isn't it, on Truk, because we have resupplied and rearmed over here. We have tried sending back our destroyers, should be these two, certainly is to repair as well, so that's absolutely fine indeed. We do have our supply interceptors over here, which we're going to reinforce the base scouters as well. I think we're going to take some more supplies at the moment, so let's do that. So we manage supplies, get a few supplies on here. Thinking about it, we could use these as some very fast supplies down to Truk at the moment, but I think we're going to stick with our current plan of using Task Force 122, because this is not the greatest amount of supplies at all for Truk. I do want to reinforce that rather heavily. I think we'll take these supplies all the way down to Palembang over here. We'll sort that out later when they get closer to reinforce that. Might be a decent idea. So let's get going and see what we can catch today. I think just make sure we're getting Yamato moving once again. Not entirely sure what the hell is going on over here. I did not issue this order. Look at that, it's disgusting. What we're going to do is, I think we're going to be very spicy and patrol very swiftly around the Solomon Sea here. Have a look around Guadalcanal and pull back up out over here. We're going to push down with our CVs just so that we're in range to assist with any zeros if need be. So let's keep going. Well, we have, if the eagle-eyed among you may have noticed a possible cruiser task force just south of Truk, we scouted that out immediately and found a lot of destroyers escorting an Omaha and a Cleveland. We have gone in with our 9 Bettys armed with bombs, armor-piercing bombs. That is, we're going to go straight and tell these to attack as they are. Going to go straight onto the Omaha so that we don't waste time. Going for the Cleveland is the other viable option. But going through all of that AA, we're certainly going to lose Bessies in this attack. We've got to do it as quickly as possible. We're going to have to, I think, circle back around with this group because we're going too fast. We've come in a little too close here on the strategic map, which is a shame. That's had to be the case. If we slow down here, might be able to get a decent turn off for this attack. It's going to have to be automatic at this point, unfortunately, and in the formation we've spawned in with. They have dropped, but that does mean this group can get out already, and hopefully we can actually distract their AA at the moment. We are turning with this group, of course. Excellent. Just double checking that's gone through. There are the bombs. Very nice hit on the rear of the ship there. That'll do a lot of damage. You can see the deck side fires already midships there, which is absolutely brilliant. Very, very nice indeed. That, hopefully that slowed it down, but we can see the speed is still 26 knots there. And that is not exactly slow, is it? So what we're going to do is slow down a bit here so that we can tighten up our turn. Do the same over here. Just make sure that we do actually come in. We'll tell this to attack from here. And I think we'll do the same here as well, just to get that going. We can speed up once we have the turn done. Absolutely don't mind sending this in automatic attack rather than manual. It's not the most threatening task force, and it can't bombard Truk, but we do have to be wary in case it does have troops and supplies for a light invasion, just because we are currently low on our supply. And actually with this group I am just going to stop the attack. We're going to form up into a line ahead because we do have a very nice angle on this at the moment. Slow down a tad, and then they can break an attack like that. Just gets in a little better there. Should be about ready to drop. Although having said that, probably should have stayed in a line, because you can see there's some rather decent gappage in that formation, but not to worry. Not to worry at all. We should have dropped with both forces here now, so we're just going to turn back round and out. Just make sure we did drop here. We certainly have. So increase the speed, thank you very much, and get the ruddy bloody hell out. Let's have a look at this then. How are we looking? Hopefully one or two more hits would be very nice indeed. That's a miss over there. So one more hit would be very nice from that second drop. And unfortunately, not quite lucky enough. Very, very near misses there. But that's okay. It's absolutely fine. Once again, not the most threatening of task forces. If we really want to, you can see the Betty's coming down now, really crashing through the water there. But if we really want to, we can, of course, defend Guam with our Guam Defense Task Force with our 2 Nagatos in it. Should really, at range, walk over this task force. So we'll let the fires burn down. See if we do get any lucky secondary explosions, but it's not looking the case. Looks like they're already getting on top of those fires, actually. So wait for the smoke to die down and see what happens there, I think. Alrighty, so after that attack, we haven't actually noticed any other new task forces, and that Omaha did get away only on minor damage, unfortunately. Not going to pursue that just yet. I don't mind leaving such a task force out to recon the open water there. They're not going to find anything too interesting for themselves. What we are going to do, though, is finally send all of our engineering and fuel from this task force onto Puerta Princesa, and we should be able to upgrade the port here, and we certainly can. Very nice forward base now for rearming our ships, which is very, very useful for springboarding down to the Dutch East Indies now. We have given up on taking Manila for the time being. We're going to circumvent that, and I think actually what we're going to do is take, can we take this task force to pick up these supplies? We can take up some supplies from here. These are Taiye's, aren't they? What exactly can they carry? I'm pretty sure it's around about 1,000 supplies at a time, but I do forget off the top of my head. Yeah, so we can pick up 1,000 supplies per ship in. That's 3,000 out of the 6.7 from Manila, and that is very, very useful. I think we'll dump these onto Tawi Tawi as well, actually. So let's take that, and they should be able to get in there just fine. It will take 25 hours to do so. That means we get under there, under the cover of night as well, because it is currently 2200 hours and 19. So I think that's looking pretty damn decent. Let's keep going. Well, that's rather interesting. As soon as we finish that announcement, you can see it's only been not even 20 minutes yet. Enemy troops have landed as Haiphong, and that is rather annoying. That means, do we defend that? That's the question. Because it's not particularly the most useful base over here. We can see that they actually haven't got the greatest amounts of troops and supplies there either, because we have 640 troops with very minimal supplies, and the balance of power is only just under half there. It sounded like they bombarded it, which suggests that there is a battleship here, although coming from the icon there, it probably is just a heavy cruiser. But we don't know just yet, and we can't tell because it is night time, unfortunately. I think we stick with the plan of going to Palembang over here because we are so close to it. How long is it going to take to get up to Haiphong? It is going to take 38 hours to do that, and I think over the next day's cycle we'll be losing that base. So we're going to capture Palembang, reinforce that so we can keep a hold of that from minor invasions, and capture command points wise we're doing fine. The income will be better with the level 3 airfield there. and we will have that deep radar sight there, which is excellent. So let's carry on. I don't think it's a problem to lose Haiphong at the moment. We can always go back to that later. Okay, so at the turn of the next day, what I would imagine has just invaded Haiphong has just turned up south of Halcyon on its return back to home. Let's see what they have. In Atlanta, this might not be the case actually. It's an Atlanta and a Cleveland so far, and that's not capable of bombarding. So this means we do have a couple smaller groups about in the area, which is rather interesting. I was hoping to torpedo perhaps a larger ship with some Bettys and using the Torus over here as just a distraction for the enemy's AA. We can certainly give that a go, but I think it'd just be wasting really our Bettys. What we can do is get into position at the moment, increase that speed, reduce our altitude a little bit. In fact, we'll keep our speed down so the Torus can in fact catch up and get in range there. What we should do, I think, is bring the Torus down as well to a decent altitude there, quite a low one, and try to threaten a strafing run. I would think perhaps on a destroyer. I don't think it's worth strafing the Atlanta, although that is what we're probably going to try and target with our torpedoes. We'll see how the enemy's formation looks when the time comes to that. We'll just try and keep a little out of range here and keep behind the Torus for now, if possible. Keep our speed up for that. Compress a bit of time because this is going to take a decent amount of time to get in. Here we go, let's go straight in now. Yeah, we can see the enemy is turning around rather nastily for us here. Pretty much about facing with their formation. Not entirely liking that. So it will be rather difficult to score any torpedo hits. What sort of armour does the Atlanta have on it? So let's just double check. Yeah, it's enough really to shrug off the small arms, of course, as you would well expect. Just turn around again with the Torus. We can slow down a bit. It looks like they are still focusing the Bettys, which does make more sense, of course. Bettys are the ones that are going to hurt if they do get in. Oh no, they've turned around to the Torus now. We can see the flak marks coming off. So let's dive down. Go to 40 meters. Try and target the Atlanta a bit better. It looks like it's making a starboard side turn, so we are just going to come in from that angle, if possible. How hard is it going to turn, though, is the question. And how we're going to be lining up with the enemy's air. It looks like they are now focusing the Bettys. What we need to do is, I think, just get in onto one of these destroyers, threaten a strafe, sacrifice some Torus, I think. We're going to go for this particular ship. Looks like a Gridley, perhaps. Over here. Go for the number 1. Reduce your altitude to 150 meters-ish will do. 150 is indeed what we need, but I think we're going a little too quick with our Bettys for that. Let's turn down the speed there. I think just go for it really. We're going to start seeing some enemy small arms come out soon. Just tell that to attack. Tell these guys to attack. Not so worried about the success of this strafing run. I think when we get in closer we'll tell these guys to slow down a tad. Do that now. Get more time on the target. Looks like we have distracted some of their fire from the destroyers there, but I don't really like this lead. Do we risk a manual drop here? I think we probably do. Let's just slow down the speed again then and take charge of this. Just zoom out so we can see what we're doing. Yeah, losing a Betty there. Okay, it's only going to be the 1, so yeah, there we go. No time to drop, unfortunately. Unlucky. Very, very unlucky. Probably should have done a very early drop with some large lead, but not to worry there. I think we're going to preserve these Torus then, with that being said. So if we form up, cancel the attack, and just pull out while we can. We'll speed that while they focus on the other Torus over here. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. Look at that. As soon as they move their fire over, losing 2 planes there. Only light fires onto the destroyer here, with a very quick, short and sharp strafe. Not sharp enough, unfortunately. But it does give us some idea of what is about north of the Philippines there. So I think we're going to survive with this, so we are going to retreat and keep on scouting, I think. And our base scouters, not too long after that encounter, have come round to Palembang. So we're going to unload our cargo here. Should now have Palembang there, certainly is ours. And we should get access to that radar very soon indeed. It's not showing the coverage there, interestingly. Might be because we don't have a port there, but that's rather interesting because the airfields do provide radar. Maybe we need to make that truly functional by dumping some engineering and fuel on there, but we can now retreat back to Kure and think about that for the future. So let's keep going. Very nice little win there to get that under our grasp. Alrighty, so just south of Manila we have found a small enemy task force trying to tail our minor resupply group from Puerta Princesa. We've managed to intercept it with our I-19 here, which is very well stocked on torpedoes with 12 ready. Have 6 of course in the tubes. We're going to start by loading up 4 with a 1 degree spread and see what we have exactly here. Have a destroyer at the lead and we have a Cleveland at the number 2. We'll target that to begin with. We do have an Atlanta over here at the number 3 position. So it's looking like the Cleveland is of course the best option here. So we're absolutely going to go for that. Let's just identify that to help out our solution. Very, very nice indeed. Sea state is a high 5. No thermal layers to hide under. Visibility is 63%. So not too bad at all. We can slow down and I think stop turning here. Our solution is already climbing very high indeed, now over 70, which is excellent. Our lead is 23 degrees. Just wait a little bit for our solution to climb a tad higher if possible, but it is struggling to get to 75, so I think this is probably the best we're going to guess at the moment. Did I up scope? I did not. Where are we? What was the bearing? 296. There we go. Lovely stuff. So I think really just fire out. Very simple attack here. Quite perpendicular, decent lead, 4 torpedoes ready, 1 degree spread. Let's get going. Decent range, so it should be difficult for them to find us. So once these are out, just dive down, silent, and fingers crossed, as ever, really. Torpedoes are out, let's down scope, go to silent, very casual, I think we'll put us at a 60 meter depth, and I think we'll just halt engines really. No need to maneuver just yet, just keep contact with the enemy there, but still a decent enough range that they can't find us very easily at all at 7.8-ish kilometers away there. Well, somewhat surprisingly, the enemy did actually make some very minor adjustments to their course while our torpedoes were en route to the Cleveland there. So we did just about miss with a couple of our torpedoes. Did take a couple torpedoes on the rear of the ship. Let's take a report. Heavy to heavy. It's up in the air whether that goes down or not. It really depends on how much these floods and fires do develop here. We did concentrate that rather a lot on the rear of the ship. So with the speed of that at 30 knots, not too sure how that's looking really. What was it? The Atlanta was at the number 3 position. Let's see if we can target that, going at 27 knots. So we can see, and it's now down to 8 knots, the Cleveland. That is absolutely down to the damage it caused, as we would well expect, but I've seen torpedo attacks where it doesn't just completely stop, as we've seen on battleship attacks. Yeah, that's going to go down to 0 now, isn't it? That's absolutely brilliant. What we could do is stop this manoeuvre here. Come a little closer, actually. If we turn around to face it, might be able to get off one more torpedo or two to actually finish that off. We go to periscope depth very quickly. This destroyer looking like it might want to come our way. Looking like it. But I don't think he really knows exactly what to do here. So what we can do is risk guessing round again, while Cleveland is assisting Duck. It is making some very, very, very minor speed here, but might as well be dead in the water as far as torpedo solution is concerned there. If it were actually at 0 knots, completely stationary, I would fire one torpedo off with a manual attack and go for the bow there. But I think we're going to play it safe, go for 2 torpedoes, the only 2 we have left in the tubes there, and once again go for a 1 degree spread. So that should aim, of course, for the centre of the ship. 1 degree spread will allow for a little bit of. It could go for the bow here, could go for the rear, but with a decent 70-ish percent solution, I think that will certainly hit. Let's just double check. We are now at periscope depth. Just about getting there, just compress time a tad so that we are there safely. Reduce our speed, no need to start moving so much now, and just fire off the remainder of our torpedoes on that damaged Cleveland. Just take another report there. Yeah, we need to encourage that, still on heavy and heavy. Let's fire out once again. Slightly higher solution than we had before. And now I can dive back down to 60 meters and actually retreat out this time. If we just increase our speed a tad, just move out like so, give it some navigation orders. But we can see the destroyers are not in any real rush to actually hunt us down here. So if we just about face, move out, we're outside of their active sonar range quite easily here, over double actually. Those fires are not subsiding at all, and in fact we can tell by the smoke that they have probably spread to the midships there. Well, only one more hit onto that Cleveland, mostly due to our spread. You can see the stream over here, just missed the bow of the Cleveland. That's due to both spread and minor adjustments to the Cleveland's position there. But that should, you'd hope, go down. It is reduced to a 0 speed now, but of course we don't have any spare torpedoes ready. So, how are the destroyers looking? Looking good, not coming directly after us, are they? Any swift speed, pretty stationary, so we can just sit and hope with this Cleveland to go down. Has got on top of the fires by the looks of it at the rear. There's no longer deck board, but it is in critical damage now with some heavy flooding, so fingers crossed. Just waiting game now with this Cleveland. Well, our scouts just south of Iwo Jima have picked up what is denoted as a carrier task force. We can see there certainly is some sort of carrier here. There are planes in the sky. We can see on initial visuals here that so we have a Bogue and of course another invasion task force here. Let's press play, see what we're up against. We have what appears to be a Netherlands oiler perhaps, I forget the name, Macaulay perhaps over here, Arcturus for supplies, a whole host of destroyers. So just a couple. 1, 2, 3 supply ships. Lost our Jake unfortunately, but no, just lost bearing. Couple Omahas, okay, and of course the Bogue with its vast amount of fighters over here. They are in fact Hellcats. Arming themselves with rockets. We're going to lose the scouting Jake over here, unfortunately. But we do have people about over here. So rather nasty. course, you do only need to destroy the number 2 and 3 ship over here to negate any decent invasion power here. But I'd like to catch the Bogue as well, of course. So that's just over here, right between our carriers. Going to bring over these supply interceptors. We were moving those to Okinawa because we had a bad feeling that something might be going over there from previous sightings of things around Iwo Jima, which dropped off. Do have Soryu about though, so we'll scout out once again. I think actually we'll scout out with Taiyo if we launch aircraft. Just send some zeros out. We'll have to find that once again. I should have marked it when we sighted it on the map, but not to worry. Not to worry at all. We'll keep that going over here. Fire off another one. And then we can send out some zeros to support some planes, I think, afterwards. So we'll send that, I think we'll send that out over a very wide scout over here. And send that back towards Iwo Jima like this. That'll do. So let's get going. We'll see if we can respot that and send out an airstrike. Get the supply interceptors to mop it up with their fast battleships over here, I think. Well, a fair deal of time has passed since sighting that invasion task force, and I'm sad to say we have lost sight of it. Look at the weather over here though. Is it surprising that we can't keep sight of anything? Really, really disgusting cloud layer there. Really in the middle of the storm. But not to worry there. What we can do is follow. Have tried actually following some scouts up and down with zeros, but not able to keep sight of them for long. Gonna send out a couple more zeros in this direction over here. Just to scout out very loosely like that, I think. Bring over here. Taiyo. We do of course have Masashi task force about over there to push out. I think we're going to try and chase with that. Just bring out once again over here, just a longer range over here, and we get the Masashi to actually stop sitting idly and really use these ships. Forgot about them. So we're going to come out around here and have a look at chasing that down. We do have our supply interceptors over here. We will have sighted the enemy if they came more westerly past Iwo Jima and towards Okinawa with the amount of scouts over here. So I think I'm going to keep our supply interceptors in a somewhat neutral position and keep them out over here so that our amount of scouts coming off of this task force can cover our flank in the open water here and try not to catch us unawares. Because now that we haven't sighted them closer towards Iwo Jima, I am much more scared that they are going to try and circumvent us and get to Okinawa once again. And that's not something I'm very happy to try and accept. Can't accept it. We need to defend solidly there. Should be getting resupplied very soon as well. Should take a few days time, but can't. It never comes quick enough, does it, getting resupplied? All we can do is carry on and keep out scouting. We have actually sighted a cruiser group out here. A couple, I think we've sighted a Java, a Enterprise, whatever British light cruiser is actually available now. Might well be a Dane since it's theirs. I think we did sink the Enterprise, did we? No, okay, it was certainly this one then. Definitely too large for a Dane. Yeah, Dutch cruiser as well as some American destroyers escorting them out here. But we're going to leave them. They're not directly threatening us at the moment. We're hoping really for carriers out here if possible, but no such luck just yet, unfortunately. Well, despite not sighting the enemies around Iwo Jima, we have finally got in range with our Kokuryu Marus and Kamigawas over here towards Tawi Tawi to unload some more supplies. We're going to unload a couple thousands worth if possible. We'll just double check actually. We'll bring this up to 6.9 thousand should be absolutely fine to dump over there. What about troops though? Do we reinforce troops? I think we certainly do from our Minakazes and such. So let's go over there, dump our troops on. Never hurts to increase the amount of troops. And with that being said, let's take a look at the balance of power. It's very much in our favour now. But I think because we have dumped those extra troops on, we're just going to even out these supplies a little bit more and get one more ship's load on there. There will be another 1.2 thousand, and that is absolutely fine. I think I've just done that the wrong way around. It's this. It needs to be on. So 8.1 thousand on there now is absolutely brilliant. So it's 1.2, 2.4 supplies going towards Truk now, and that's absolutely acceptable there. Let's bring that all the way out. All the way out. How long does it take to get back around here, actually? About a day's worth. It's going to take a couple days then, let's say, round this up. Getting over to Cebu. Do want to just save some supplies on Tawi Tawi and bring them over to Truk for the long run. I think we'll be absolutely fine with the 2.4 thousand over there. Actually, it should be all good there. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so what we're going to do then is try and take our supplies from Manila, take them from Cebu as well, get over to Tawi Tawi, and see what we can do about that. Unless there's another encounter, that should be the end of the video. Let's keep going. Well, it seems the Allies have a lot of light cruiser groups around the Philippines. This time on the easterly side of the Philippines, we've sighted yet another Cleveland over here and a Brooklyn escorted by some destroyers as well. So we are of course going to strike the Cleveland. Let's just make sure we're targeting that properly there. And we will of course try and identify that to help out our solution. Once again, seems to be a lot of repetition today. Going to get some deja vu while watching this, but not to worry there. Once again, 8 kilometers away, fairly standard. Let's get some torpedoes ready. We will go for, what's the visibility like, 54%, sea state 6. Fairly decent solution there actually. It is indeed rising higher than before despite the lack of good visibility. Fairly decent lead as well. Closing down though, getting narrower and narrower as we wait for our solution. But now that we're edging towards 90%, we're absolutely going to fire out. I think before that does get far too narrow. 15 degrees is absolutely nice. So we're going to just fire out some 4 torpedoes. As long as, I'd say 3 hits is probably needed if they're placed well to sink a light cruiser. I have certainly seen it. Very nice indeed. So very standard practice here. Let's just go to silence. Down to 60 meters. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. And hopefully we get a nice lather going on this Cleveland. Let's just walk through how many Clevelands we have left. This is going through our... It so weirdly follows the picture in the identification menu rather than what you have selected around here. So how many have we actually sunk? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 39. So a small dent in the American industry there. I'm sure they won't feel that whatsoever. Alrighty, so after sinking that Cleveland, we've advanced a couple hours ahead into the same day just to let the day cycle tick over and see how we stand with Tawi Tawi. We've lost a few supplies, of course, barely any troops, which is very, very nice indeed. We can see that still within a couple of days, this should be a new base claimed under the Japanese Empire, which is very, very nice indeed. In regards to Haiphong, we are going to lose that unless we can make a difference. I have rediverted our supply interceptor group. It does of course only have supplies on here, so we can't reinforce that with troops, which would be somewhat ideal, but I think it is perhaps these supplies letting us down there because it has been a couple of days now and that balance of power has not shifted. too much against us. It certainly has. We'll lose that if we don't reinforce that with supplies. But what we can do is, I think, put some supplies on there, see how the balance of power helps out, and take some troops from Hong Kong after that to try and help out. Should have thought of that a tad earlier, might have saved that for definite, but my brain is rather small and somewhat on the smooth side there. But not to worry, once again, it's not the most really valuable strategic position there. It's not providing any useful radar, not providing any planes because we have neither engineering nor fuel to stock those up. It's just a distraction. And providing a small amount of command points, which we're in abundance of those. But it's just an investment to have to reconquer that, isn't it, rather than defend it. But I think that is unfortunately all that we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching, and as ever, I will be trying to put out videos as I can over the week, but it will be very tight with getting our new house sorted. I will put out once again. But thank you for your patience, and I hope you have enjoyed the video today. I shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.